Now I want to show you how you can reference parent selectors. One of the things that you'll often find yourself doing, especially with links, is you'll add pseudo-classes into the links. You can use nesting and reference the parent selector to make your code a little bit more concise. On our page, we have a link inside of our paragraph. Currently, the styling that it's getting is just from the browser. We're going to go ahead and we're going to style the link. I'm going to go into my nesting.sass file and we'll make a rule for the A tag. I'm going to have the color change to a blue that we're using elsewhere on our page, and we'll remove the underline. In addition to styling the A tag, we also want to style the hover state of the A tag. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the &:hover. This will allow me to access or reference the parent selector. The ampersand is basically going to be replaced with the parent selector, and the compiled code is going to look like A::hover type of formatting. We'll set the color to an orange when the user hovers over. If I save my page and we go look at it in the browser, you can see that the underline has disappeared and the link color has changed, as well as my hover state is now working. Now you might not consider this exactly a time saver, since we could have just written A::hover for our selector, but this particular reference works with parent selectors that are longer than single characters, and then they can be really helpful. In addition, you can also use the ampersand for more than pseudo elements like hover. Let me show you what it looks like on a different type of element. I'm going to go into my HTML, and here you can see that I have some divs with a class of box. I'm going to alter these slightly so that they have some text. Let me just update the code. And what we're going to do is we're going to add an additional class to each of the boxes, 1, 2, and 3 respectively, so that each one can have a general selector where we will target and then something a little bit more specific. I'll save my page. We'll go back into our SASS file, and I'm going to set up a rule for the box class. So on my box class, I'm going to set width and height, some padding, margin on the right and the left. I'm changing the display to inline block, and I'm changing the text color to be a really light gray, almost white. And now what we're going to do is we're going to set background colors for the various boxes. So here I'm going to put &.1, which will make the selector box.1, and we'll just set the background color. And then I'm going to make a rule for &.2, which is our second box, and I'm going to give this one the same shade, but it's going to be 60%. And then we'll make a rule for &.3. And again, I'm just going to use the same shade, but I'm going to have it be a 30% alpha. So the color will progressively get lighter. If we check in our browser, you can see that here are the 3 boxes. So all the CSS is rendering just fine. If we check our CSS, you can see that the code that the CSS generated is .box.1, .box.2, .box.3. Here the ampersand is referencing the parent element. In addition to this, you can use the same theory, but you can use it as a trailing parent reference. So to show you this, I'm going to go back into the HTML, and we'll just make another article. This one's going to have a class of special assigned to it, and we'll create an H1 and a paragraph here as well. So now our page just contains another article with a headline. I'm going to format my H1s, so we'll go back into the SASS file and we're going to make a rule for H1s. So we'll just change the font size, set a color for the H1s, a border on the bottom, and augment the margin on the bottom. If we save and check this out in the browser, you can now see that my headlines have taken on that formatting. Well, what if we want the special article to have a different type of headline treatment? We can do that here. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll write the selector like this. I'm going to write .special and then let's just change the font color here. So we'll make the font color a gray within the special area. If we save now and we refresh, As you can expect, this second area has a headline that is gray. What this is saying is it's basically saying dot special h1. So if we look at our CSS that is rendered, you can see that I have a dot special h1. In this way, we're able to reference the parent selector at the end of the selector rather than putting it at the beginning as we did earlier. As you build more complex web pages, you may find that referencing the parent selector by using the ampersand to be a really helpful way to help you consolidate down your code.